Welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with another fight preview. This time we're going to Mexico City, Mexico for UFC on ESPN Plus number 17, aka UFC Fight Night Mexico City. We're going to the women's strawweight division. Carla Esparza, Cookie Monster, taking on Alexa Grasso. Before we break down each fighter one by one, let's take a look at them, how they match up statistically. So age, Esparza is definitely the older fighter, 31 to 26. Record, Esparza again is more experienced fighter, 14-6 to Grasso's 11-2. However, Grasso has an advantage in the height at 5 feet 5 inches to Esparza's 5 feet 1 inch tall. And she also has a reach advantage at 66 inches to Esparza's 63 inches. So that's how they match up against each other statistically. Let's break them down individually. So we'll start with the visiting fighter, Carla Esparza. So Esparza's strengths. Carla has a good blast double. My personal opinion is that her double leg takedown is second in the division only to Tatiana Suarez, who used it very effectively herself against Carla Esparza. So most of the time when Esparza shoots for that blast double, she gets it. Esparza also has underrated striking that has improved dramatically over her last several fights. She looked very impressive against both Claudia Gadelha and Cynthia Calvillo as far as her striking goes. I think it's definitely something that she's going to need to utilize here to set up her takedowns. And then finally, she has very stifling top control. She gets on top of you. She's very stifling. She's known to break fighters down just from her top control and ground and pound. Now, one weakness I've known about Esparza, and she still hasn't been able to fix it. I don't think it's necessarily something that's easy to fix. She doesn't necessarily react well to getting hit, especially if you hit her more than once in succession. The more you hit her, the worse she tends to react. Now, she's gotten a little better about it over the years, but it's just not something that's truly likely ever going to be fixed with her. And against a striker like Grasso, it could definitely cost her. And then finally, with Carla Esparza, we have her keys to victory. She needs to use that underrated striking to properly set up those takedowns of hers. She can't risk shooting from a distance and telegraphing it. She needs to set them up properly with her striking. Then she needs, once she gets Grasso to the ground, she needs to use that effective top control, and suffocate her. Needs to just stay on her and stay on her. And then finally, when she has top control, look for submission opportunities. Don't try to force them, but if they present themselves, take them. All right, so that was Carla Esparza. Now let's look at her opponent, fighting on home country soil, Alexa Grasso. So Grasso's strengths. She has a strong boxing background. Her uncle is, I believe, a former pro boxer and has taught her very well as far as boxing. Along with that boxing comes very good head movement, unusually good for the women's divisions. Probably some of the most effective head movement within the women's divisions. And then finally, she has phenomenal conditioning. This will be her third fight in Mexico City for the UFC, and each time she has shown that she does not get tired even up at that elevation. She usually moves her camp there 3 weeks before the fight to properly acclimate herself, and it shows in her conditioning. And even when she's not fighting at elevation, she still shows phenomenal conditioning. You never really see her get tired in fights. Now, as far as a weakness I've seen in Grasso, she has somewhat suspect takedown and submission defense. She did get taken down and submitted by um, Tatiana Suarez, of course, strongest wrestler by far in the division. So there's not too big of a knock on her, and she has been to the ground against fighters like Mizuki Inoue and done well. But I would say that is her biggest weakness. I'd say her other weakness is hesitancy. Her last few fights, she's been very hesitant to throw hands, and I think that part of that is due to having had several broken hands during her short career. Finally, we'll look at Grasso's keys to victory. I think she would be best to stay at range. She has good boxing. If she can keep at boxing range and keep Esparza at the end of her reach with her fists, that would definitely work to her advantage. Also, she needs to use those combos to frustrate Esparza and keep her off balance. Like I said, Esparza doesn't react well to getting hit, especially with successive punches. So Grasso needs to utilize good punching combos to frustrate her. And then finally, she needs to bring her A-game sprawl. The sprawl is going to be the key to defeating Esparza's takedowns. Alright, so looked at both of these fighters individually. We saw how they stack up statistically. Now it's time to make my prediction. Now this one it's hard for me, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of both of these fighters. It was very hard for me to look at it neutrally. I'm still not sure I was able to remain 100% neutral when making my decision. But aside from, their strengths, their keys to victory, their weaknesses, I looked at several factors when making my choice. Height and reach. If Grasso can use that height and reach to her advantage, she can definitely keep Esparza at her preferred range and avoid those takedowns. However, Esparza is one of the shorter, smaller strawweights. She's been able to get inside and get those takedowns on plenty of fighters who were taller and lengthier than she is. Another factor is going to be the elevation. Mexico City. It's like a burial ground of fighters who can't bring their A game as far as conditioning goes. I don't think that'll be a problem with Esparza. She has been training up at Big Bear in preparation for this, so I think that'll be a big key. But Big Bear's not Mexico City. I think whether or not Esparza can acclimate to it in time can be a key. And then finally, I'm looking at their age and the stage of their career. Esparza is older, Grasso's younger. Esparza's at a later stage of her career. She's not going to be able to contend for the title anymore. Grasso is still entering, I think, her prime. I think she lost some time due to the injury bug. But I think that she is ready to enter this next stage of her career. Now, that being said, Esparza is at the point of her career where she is still looking to spoil plenty of younger fighters. She did it against Cynthia Calvillo, for example. That said, taking all these factors in, and I'm going with Alexa Grasso to win. I think that her striking game is top-notch compared to Esparza's. Aside from the takedown threat and being able to get back up once she gets down there, that is going to be the biggest threat for Grasso. But I think if she can avoid the takedowns for the most part, be careful with her kicks, because that's how Marcos was able to take her down in their fight. But if she can avoid the takedowns for most of the round and lay on hands effectively and link together those combos with her boxing, I can see her winning here. I think she'll go to decision, but I think she'll take it. Okay, so that's it. That's my view on this fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Likes are always appreciated. And hey, What are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube, and hit that bell for notifications. And we'll see you next time.